We are on time today. Of course, welcome to the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I am Andrew Esquire, Florida attorney and the destroyer of all of Disney and its subsidiaries, hopes and dreams. And of course, we're going to have another fun morning, evening, or night, wherever you are. Of course, I'm in Bangkok. It's evening here. It's 9 p.m. So I am having a lovely evening. But whether the sun is coming up or going down, it does not matter. We are always dropping facts while having fun on the channel. We also started on time. How about that? 80 people in the chat. 80 people in the chat. So make sure you smash the like button here off of the gate. Let me hit send on this tweet to tell everybody that we are indeed live. I can get in here. And Tank Rat out of the gate dropping 20 legal mindset memberships. Tank Rat, thank you so much. Incentivizing my good behavior. Thank you very, very much, Tank Rat. And also say thank you, Brian S., GHB, Steve Olio, Maybe Sunshine, That Tina Woman, Eric Lawson, Current Event Nerd, Quantum Videos, Paul McDermott, Foxnix, Anubis, Shoten, Sharon C., Linda Palmer, Thomas Mess, Wolf's Pain, Luck VNO, and Ben Patterson. And Cupo Dio. Say thank you to Tank Rat. Really, really appreciate that. Thanks for turning people green and supporting the channel and starting us off right, starting us off in the right direction. And while you're at it, and thank you, Tank Rat, really bringing it through. You guys are killing it with the memberships. Make sure you gently massage that like button, just a gentle massage of the like button, so it comes through and everybody gets to know about this good information. Also, I want to say a special shout out to the very first person who commented today, which I believe was Walt Wright. I think Walt Wright was the number one today. So Walt Wright, I think, takes the first today. So shout out to my Walt Wright brothers and sisters. You can slap that like button. You can tickle it. Whatever you're doing, listen, it's no judgment with what you do as long as it is slightly engaged. So it is indeed counting as a like. Also, smash that like button, or the formerly known as the Pussy, over there on Rumble. Appreciate all y'all over there. W. Ralph, CF Herman, Danielle, I see over there. Lile, good to see everybody over there on Rumble as well. It's growing. It's really growing there. All right. So a lot of stuff today. We have a really fun story today to get into. Particularly when we get to the fired Gen Z employee, but we're also going to talk about Pixar. We're going to talk about the layoffs that are coming for Pixar, of course. But before we do any of that, before we jump into any of that, what I want to cover with you guys real quick, because people have been asking about Sarah Boone. I saw some people asking about Sarah Boone, the Sarah Boone murder trial in Orlando. And I want to answer that question. People are asking on Twitter, on other places, are you going to cover the Sarah Boone trial? Yes, I will be covering the Sarah Boone trial. I will be doing that, but I will also be doing normal coverage. So I will be streaming the Sarah Boone trial. I will be up pretty much when that one goes. I'm going to be up every night. I'm committing to this ahead of time, guys, that I will be doing every single night of the Sarah Boone trial, and I will be stream sniping plus doing my own coverage. So I will be stream sniping where I think it's fun, and if people have good panelists, if they suck, we'll just be watching it on our own. But even if they suck, I'll probably check into them every once in a while just to roast them. But I will be covering the other channels. So some that I expect will also cover it. I expect Emily D. Baker. I expect Nick. I expect Jeff. I expect probably a few others. I think probably Kurt will jump on it, I'm sure. Joe is always good for a shekel or two when there's a grift involved. So I'm sure I'll be bouncing around from a number of attorneys because that one's going to be kind of fun, particularly because it's involving a battered spousal defense. And how do we know that? We know that because when you look at her filings, or battered women's, but it's technically battered spouse, but it's almost never used except for in the female context. But you can see that in the filings here. So right here, this is a filing in the state versus Sarah Boone. You can see that this is a motion for a expert witness, and they talk about what the expert witness is going to talk about. And right here, you see that the expert witness is going to testify in battered women syndrome, domestic violence, personality disorders, battered husbands, infidelity, and alcoholic blackouts. So they're going to try to come up with that as a defense for Sarah Boone. And then this is the Orange County website. Just so you see here, she's charged with second-degree murder. And you see that there's a pretrial conference on the 16th that's scheduled. So that's coming up. And then there is the trial, which is scheduled for the 29th of January. So I will be covering that when it actually starts, which the 29th of January is Tuesday from me. So if I miss like an opening statement or something like that, I'll catch up, but we'll definitely get the bulk of this here trial, and it should be absolutely fascinating. I think this is going to be one that I'm going to be very, very, very excited to cover. So just so you guys know, so I don't normally cover trials. In fact, trials are not my thing. I'm never going to be the cover every trial channel. I do the ones that are interesting to me. This one is interesting because it is in my former district. I used to practice in Central Florida, as those know. And also it's a very novel defense in Florida. And if it gets her out of murder, that will be a big thing. I think a lot of people will start claiming this BWS defense if it gets her out of murder. So we will indeed be talking about that. All right. So first, let's start with the top news article, the thing I want to really get here. Actually, I want to answer this question. Don't Disney my anime said, I want to know what made Andrew become a base legal attorney. Listen, I wasn't always this way. If you want to go back and watch my original streams, I was actually pretty scared. I was scared to speak my mind. I was scared to tell the truth because I was still working for corporate America. I was still tied in as an employee. And honestly, I think that's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that DM me, they write me and they go, Andrew, I love your work, but I can never admit to watching you. I can never talk about it because I will 100% get fired. Like my manager has pronouns in the bio. I'm working with, 6 or 7 they, thems. I cannot. And look, I understand. I get it. That's what made me want to do this, is because not everybody can do this. Not everybody can have this kind of ability to speak freely. And in addition, because I'm abroad, a lot of the craziness, like the swatting and the stuff where people might physically threaten you, well, they can't really do that, right? No, they're not going to. I mean, first of all, they don't even know where I am. But second of all, they're not going to hop on a plane and cross the Pacific just to try to swat me. And what, you're going to call up the Thai police force and tell them that somebody said something mean to you on the internet? Yeah, they're going to laugh you and then go the other way. It's just not going to work. So that said, I do this because I want to bring truth where others cannot speak it. But very good question. Actually, very good question. Midnight's Edge After Dark. What's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. We are going to talk a lot about some interesting topics tonight. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. And also, real quick shout out over there on Rumble. We've actually got 218, almost as many people on Rumble as on YouTube. So I want to give a little special shout out to my Rumble people. Just thank you for tuning in on Rumble, guys. I really appreciate it. That audience has grown. Don Baca says, digging up Thai police numbers. Good luck. Good luck. Oh yeah, and Dave, I know that there are defamation laws here, but here's the thing. I'm not talking about a Thai citizen. So that's a big difference here. It's a big difference here. Okay, so let's go over here and get into the Pixar news. So this is it right here. Pixar, this is the first place I saw it. So I want to give the credit where credit is due. This is the first place I saw this, was from Discussing Film. They posted this, that Pixar will undergo significant layoffs in 2024. As many as 20% of the employees could be laid off, but Pixar says the number is to be determined. Now, this was what broke this news for me, was discussing film. However, since that broke on discussing film, we have subsequently got an update. And the largest update, I think, and the best one that I could find was over here in Newsweek. So Newsweek had Pixar facing layoffs amid Disney struggles. So yeah, this is the article that was the latest. It came out today for Eastern Standard Time, 6:22 a.m. EST. So it came out pretty early. Pixar's confirmed it will undergo. So Pixar has now confirmed this. This is no longer speculation. Pixar has actually officially confirmed this, that they are going to undergoing layoffs in 2024 with up to 20% of jobs reportedly at risk. The Disney-owned animation studio told TechCrunch that staff cuts would be significant. Over the next few months, the team could drop from 1,300 members to under 1,000. That's very significant. In fact, that's more than 20%, but okay. With further job loss as a possibility. However, the studio disputed that number and said the final number of cuts will be determined by factors such as production schedules and staff requirements for future projects. Pixar also said layoffs won't be immediate. Well, they can't be immediate because of the law. We're going to talk about the law regarding layoffs, and a very important law when it comes to layoffs. There's one specific law that I'm going to teach you guys today, because I try to be educational and entertaining, that does limit mass layoffs. So we're going to talk about the laws that limit at a federal level the mass layoffs. So, okay, they've announced they're going to have a pretty significant layoff. In November, Disney announced it would be slashing costs after losing $1 billion due to box office flops in 2023. In an earnings call, remember those calls that we listened to? Remember those calls that everyone's flipping out about, that Valiant Renegade pretty much has another child over? Yeah, those calls, when I was on that call, I was listening to that call with everybody. I pointed out to you guys that when Bob Iger said he's going to cut $2 billion in expenses, I said it, and I said there will be job cuts. The only thing left to cut in Disney, the only thing left to cut is jobs. So when Bob Iger says $2 billion in expenses, the only way to get actual money is by cutting people's jobs. There wasn't any other like loose change for them to clean up. That's already been cleaned up. Disney's taken everything from underneath the couch. It had to actually fire folks. This followed a previous announcement that Disney would be slicing $5.5 billion in the coming year, along with thousands of layoffs. However, Iger said there were no further plans to cut jobs at that time. So last year, Iger said there were no plans to cut jobs. Last year, Iger said there were no plans to cut jobs. A couple months later, they're announcing this, which is cutting hundreds of jobs. So let's just be clear. You cannot trust Bob Iger further than you can throw him. You can't trust Bob Iger's opinion not to change between the two showers he takes a day. The first shower, he's like, you know what? We're not going to fire anybody. But he takes that second shower and he's like, you know what? I think we're going to fire people now. Those showers really change. He's really a different man, shower to shower. So these statements, and once again, you have to be careful with the statements you're making during an earnings call, because as I've said, the earnings call statements, we are building our case against Disney, our case against Bob Iger's statements in these earnings calls, and making misstatements about what they're going to do with employees, what they're going to do with products, what they're going to do with services, that can be actionable. Anything that's said in those earnings calls. So we have to look back. Is what he's saying in those earnings calls accurate? Now, of course, what he will say, and this is the weaselly, lawyerly way to do it, he'll say, well, I said we didn't plan to do it, but, plans change. That's what little Bobby I will say. Oh, well, our plans changed. No. They knew they were going to do this the entire time. They knew they were going to cut people. Is this live? Says, how do you know Bob Iger is lying? His lips are moving. Very, very, very true. Very, very true. Thank you, Is This Live? Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. And by the way, this is indeed live, and we have almost 500 people here, so please smash the like button. We're almost at 200 likes on YouTube. And also, quick shout out to everybody on Locals as well. And on Rumble, we're almost to 400. You guys are doing great. You guys are doing great. Good to see everybody here this morning. Fired up. All right. So they say the entertainment behemoth, people always hate how I say this, has been hemorrhaging money through its Disney Plus streaming service, but managed to curb losses by raising subscription costs. However, its theme parks have also been underperforming, with experts citing price hikes and increased competition as reasons for the decline. How about a culture war? How about Disney declaring a culture war? How about dudes in dresses? How about that? You think that might affect park attendance? Maybe. Is that going to do it? People always hate how I say that. Behemoth. Behemoth. Say it like I said. I always said this. That's how I always said the summon from Final Fantasy. All right. Pixar sources claim many layoffs will come from the Disney Plus team. So look at that. The layoffs are going to come from Disney Plus. Insiders said that the studio hired roles to specifically work on Pixar's streaming content, but the department has proved unprofitable. Uh-oh. During a call with investors in November, Iger said Disney will produce less content in 2024 and focus on quality. They said they're going to focus on quality. They're going to focus on quality. Are you kidding? Quality? Have they made anything quality in the last 5 years? Seriously. I mean, maybe if we're talking Pixar, what was Incredibles 2? Maybe. I actually didn't watch Incredibles 2. I don't know what you guys think. Was it quality or not? I don't know. You guys let me know in the chat. I don't know. But that's pretty much the only thing I think. And that wasn't Disney Plus exclusive. That was a feature film. That's a maybe. By the way, I saw you, Michael K. We're going to get to the freak out. Do not worry. You will. I know it's blizzarding, and a lot of people say it's snowing where they're at. Don't worry. When we get to the freak out video, it's going to warm you guys up. Stay tuned for that. We're going to get to it. It's so good. Just hang on. Mario Trujillo says, and so the axe comes down. I gotta love seeing when the rat gets bent over. They're throwing mice off the sinking ship at this point. Stay based, Andrew. I ain't stopping. They ain't stopping me. Disney can't stop me. I ain't afraid of no rat. We got Steamboat Willie over here. We hit our funding goal to get Doomcock's Easter egg in Seedy Creek. I ain't afraid of nobody. So I expect a Harvey to be inserted on one of the pages at this point. But also big shout out to the Doomcock folks and the folks that supported me after the pop culture breakdown. That was a really fun cameo for me, and we got to that goal. Right now, surprisingly, he made it. So Doomcock's audience made it, but Nerdrotic did not. So Gary falling short of the cock. I know it's shocking. Tara Lashan says, and yet they made so much money they paid out a dividend. That's the argument. The argument is that they are doing gangbusters because they felt confident to pay out a dividend. But to me, it's hilarious to think that means, oh yeah, they're making a bunch of money. And let me read this right here in the article. Let me hide this, and then I'm going to read this real quick. So right here, a number of Disney titles were deemed box office flops in 2023, including Pixar's Elemental. Upon the animation's release in July, the studio experienced its worst opening weekend ever, grossing only $28 million. Oh, I don't know why it's okay. Hold on. What the hell are you doing here? Okay, hold on. I don't know why my thing is thing's freaking out. Always gotta mess with me. Always gotta mess with me when I'm trying to read this. All right. So essentially, boomered that one. Essentially, did not make any money on Lightyear, did not make any money on Elemental. Turning Red, also box office flop. And these things have an average production budget, which I pulled up over here. Let me show you this to you guys. These are the films that Pixar's put out. And you can see like The Incredibles 2 made money. It made 1.2 billion worldwide. Now, mind you, these numbers here, and let me zoom in here. These numbers are not including the average. They have the production budget, but they do not have the advertising and marketing. So just understand these are not all of Disney's costs. So for example, Elemental cost them to produce 200 million, right? They only made worldwide 486. In the US, they made 154. But mind you, that's not counting what they have to pay to the movie theaters, which on worldwide box office, they have to pay 50%. So you have to take, they made about, what is the math here? About 300,000 on world, is that worldwide? Yeah, 300,000 of that 486 is worldwide. So only about 150 million was actually made from the worldwide, from the global box office outside the US. And then of that, you got to less out the percentage from the domestic. Plus, you got to assume the advertising and marketing was probably another, what, could be 50 million, could be 100, who knows? But that is not making money. It's actually losing money at that point. So, yeah. And by the way, you're right. Someone said in the chat, they don't report their actual spend. They just report their initial budget. You can see that this is just the initial budget because this is just some even numbers. This is not what the actual spend was. I guarantee you it was more than this, especially with the production issues. But you can see the numbers are pathetic. Lightyear only made 218 million worldwide. These are all the Pixar movies. Nothing. Britt Cormier says marketing on a $200 million film could be equal amount. It could be 200 million, it could be 150 million to 200 million. Yeah. So imagine if they spent an equivalent amount marketing. So they spent 400 million. Keep saying 1,000, 400 million to market Elemental. They would lose money on that. It's really, really crazy. So this is the one, that's a one pretty big deal there. They've been losing money for a while. And what do we have coming up? So why are they firing these Pixar employees? Well, they must have a bunch of stuff they have to work on, right? They must have a bunch of really important intellectual property that they really need to get into, right? Well, let's see what's coming up. What's coming up for Pixar? This is pixar.com/upcoming. This is what's upcoming for Pixar. Check this out. Inside Out 2, summer 2024. Okay. So they've got Inside Out 2 coming. We all knew that Inside Out 2 was coming. We all knew that was coming. So that's coming this year. They got one thing coming this year. All right. That's fine. It's fine. But what's next? Elio 2025. So they've got nothing. They've got absolutely nothing. This is a blank slate. So of course, when they're laying off people, they have a good reason to lay them off. Now, let me talk about the law that is going to come into play with Pixar. And it's going to be relevant. This law is going to be relevant for our video in a second. So right here, we have the WARN Act. Now, this is something that maybe a lot of you don't know about, right? So the WARN Act is a federal law, right? And it is the Workers Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, the WARN Act. This is from the Workers Guide to Advance Notice of Closings and Layoffs. So the main purpose of this act, and we'll read this right here, is to give employees 60 days notice before the date of a mass layoff or a plant closing. So the main thing they have to do is give them 60 days notice. Now, is this something you're required to give for all closings and layoffs? No. If you have a small business, this will not apply to you, probably. Only if you meet certain conditions. But if the employer does not give notice, you can seek damages for back pay and benefits for up to 60 days. Because of this act, most large companies will give you severance, because when you give severance, you're presumed to have qualified under this act because you're providing pay and benefits for a certain period. That would cover that. So you're protected by this act if you are a business with 100 or more full-time workers, or if you employ 100 or more workers who work at least a combined 4,000 hours per week, and you are a private for-profit business, a private nonprofit organization, or a quasi-public entity separately organized from regular government. Guys, this is Pixar. So Pixar qualifies here. Pixar qualifies under the WARN Act. So if you are a small business, so you have under 99 employees, you would not fall under this. Britt Cormier says, I'm wondering if they are using layoff differently. I have not read anything, but as a contractor, I do not get laid off by the company. However, the news reports me as a layoff or reduction in the workforce. That's very interesting because from a legal standpoint, Britt, you are not a layoff. A contractor is not laid off. You have a scope of work. You might have a position, not a position. You might have a project to work on. But once your project is finished or the term of your contract is up, that's it. You're an independent contractor. So you're not laid off. You can't collect unemployment. That's one of the big differences with a contractor. Now, there are certain types of contractors which are treated like employees under the law because, well, the employment situation, regardless of what the employer calls it, is more like an employee. But most independent contractors are true independent contractors. They're responsible for their own benefits. The key there between an independent contractor and an employee is control. If the employer is controlling what you do, when you do it, how you do it, they're providing training or something special, you are an employee. If you can determine how and where you do the work, you're probably an independent contractor. There's a multi-factor test. That's the biggest one. But also, speaking of big, is this live dropping a 50 Legal Mindset membership? Thank you so much. Is this live coming up huge today? Dropping these bombs. Tank Rat with 20. Is this live with 50? We're at 70 new members up in the house. Guys, make sure you have accept gift membership turned on so you can receive a great membership via Is This Live. Please say thank you to Is This Live. Let me read a couple of these. Not going to get all of them, but let me read it. Just a couple of this. Daniel Hall, Rover Boy, WT Stinson, Lod 686, Ghost Fox, T8, Backslash, Lars, Freedom Running, John Kohler, Ragok, Breezy's Comics, Materialistic, Maria Vargas, James McKay, Nomad, Uncle Mooch, Philip Sanford, Rebellion Wolf, South Texas Gal, Jason Wellman, Joey Perez, Elizabeth W., Photo Guy, MK Ferris, Randy Thodo, Count D. Monet, Ron A. Cheetah, W.D. Daisy Williams, and let's read this last one, Blade Raptor, and Nate Allen. All you guys say thank you. All you guys say thank you to Is This Live. Hooked you up. And more. There's more, but that's all my voice has got in it today. Feeling a little scratchy still. JL says for 2, Duck Fizzing. Indeed. Ironcaster said, didn't you Pixar unionize too? Not going to stop a layoff. It's not going to stop a layoff is not going to be prevented here by unionization. That would not help. But yes, these workers are indeed unionized. It's not going to help them when it comes to getting laid off. Tank Rat and Is This Live are my membership sugar daddies. Yes, we support membership sugar daddying. If you want to be a sugar baby, in the chat, drop some of the waifus. Drop some of the waifus. Maybe the cat girl, maybe the elf girl. Drop some of the waifus. If you want to be a membership sugar baby. Always going to have more emojis as we go. But thank you guys. Appreciate you. It's in the settings. It's under the YouTube settings under accept gifts. All right. So let's continue here with the Warn Act. You were warned. All right. So I don't know what's going on. Hold on one second, guys, because this is acting weird. My tabs are acting weird, guys. Okay. So rather, StreamYard is acting weird. Stop acting weird, StreamYard. Stop acting weird. Belonging to a union does not protect against layoffs. Thomas Keeney, welcome as a new member, by the way, of the RPG. Welcome. Okay, also, the WARN Act. You're protected if there's a plant closing where your employer shuts down a facility or operating unit within a single site of employment. So a single place, and at least 50 workers are laid off. So if a single site is shut down with 50 people, that is covered by the WARN Act. Second, if there's a mass layoff. So a mass layoff is either when you lay off either between 50 to 499 full-time workers at a single site of employment, and that number is 33% of the number of full-time workers at a single site of employment, or a situation where your employer lays off 500 or more full-time workers at a single site. So if it's a really big job site, they're laying off 500 people, it's fine. But if this is 33%, if it's 50 to 499, it's got to be 33%. At least 33%. Okay? So that is a mass layoff. So if it's under 50, so if you lay off 49 people, it's not covered by the WARN Act. This is going to be important because what you see, and you see this happen very often, and I'm telling you this as a corporate attorney who has maybe seen this happen in the past, is you see layoffs in tranches. What they do is they lay off in tranches. So every couple months, maybe every quarter, they'll lay off 30 people, 40 people, 45 people, never 50. They do that very specifically to skirt the WARN Act. And they make it as part of a quarterly layoff. They just regularly slough off people that are not performing. But they don't hit 50, so they don't have these requirements. It's a very tricky method, but that's how a lot of folks get that phased layoffs, just so you know. They'll always find life and layoffs find a way. Sergeant Dan Stuff says unions have 19C solutions to 21st century problems. Yes, indeed. And listen, I'm all for the old school, Glenn Ross style, you're all fired and you have to get your job back. I kind of miss those days. I don't miss Alec Baldwin, although listen, I don't like Alec Baldwin, but that was a good piece. That little snippet there in Glenn Ross, when he comes in, he's like, you're all fired. You have a week to get your job back. I like the spirit there. I like the spunk, but that would be horribly illegal in most states right? To go with that sort of approach. Although there are certain places and ways you can make that happen, but in most cases that would be it would not work. It would not work. But I do like the spunk. I like the spirit behind it. Bring in the bobs. So where does this play in? Now, if you are fired and there is no reason for you to be fired, then you may have an action for wrongful termination. And for those that don't know, and those that might just need a little refresher here, wrongful termination here is when you are terminated for an impermissible or illegal reason, right? So wrongful termination is when you're fired for a illegal reason, which usually is due to discrimination, violating a federal, state, and labor act because you reported and refused to participate in harassment. So whistleblower for harassment or whistleblower for an illegal act or safety violation. So these are all wrongful termination. So if you are terminated for one of these reasons, you can sue. So nowadays, because especially there's so many federal and state labor laws, employers need to be very, very careful when they fire people. You cannot just fire people willy-nilly. You need to, and this is whether we like it or not, right? We have a ton of regulation. So when you fire somebody, you can't just say, oh, you're fired. You've got to be kind of careful about it nowadays. I mean, you can, but you got to be careful. Be very careful how you say and for what reason, because if there's any way it could be interpreted as due to discrimination, due to violation of federal state law, you could be in a big doo-doo. A tipping barn says, careful around Alex. He won't miss you either. Oh, no. Poor Hannah. Debbie, oh, hey, Debbie, how's it going? Debbie's obviously pretty good in HR here. Says, at least 2 easy workarounds to warn, though. Keep a warn notice on file at all times, MSFT, or pay 2 months severance pay with layoff effective immediately. I've seen both happen. Yes. And that's the Debbie, you are on point 100%. Completely agree with Debbie here. So both of those work. I think the second version is the one I see more often. And frankly, it's going to always get you out. If you're saying, okay, we're going to pay you at least 2 months severance, you're good. You're golden. You're not going to have to worry about it. I think the only one scenario where I received a severance due to a merger of one of the companies I was at, I believe we got at least, it was like, I think we got 6 months. We got 6 months severance, which was pretty juicy. I'm not going to lie. 6 months severance was pretty sexy. I did like that. But obviously that covers WARN Act. That completely covers the WARN Act. So just so you know, we are now tiptoeing around wrongful termination. So with that in mind, we are now going to watch this video of the absolute meltdown of this young girl. So this is going to be an interesting one. So some of you may or may not have seen this video, and I want to know in the chat if you guys have seen this. Let me get media player kind of spiced up here. Okay, hold on. It's like lagging all of a sudden. Okay, I downloaded this for a reason. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. Okay, so just want to make sure the sound is working before I get going with this. There was this lovely TikTok video, which has absolutely been circulating around about this Gen Z woman who was fired. Now, this is not a Pixar employee, okay? However, I imagine that this young Gen Z girl is very much like all of the Pixar employees when they're going to be fired. I think she's very, very, very much akin to the Pixar employees. So this, to me, when I saw this, when I saw this kind of coming down the pike, I said, "Oh, this is pretty much exactly what it's going to be like at Pixar, right over here." This is Brittany Peach, Pitch. Now, she's actually, I thought that she might be a girl that I knew from a long time ago. I don't think so, but there is a slight possibility I may have met this girl. But that being said, she's an account executive, i.e., a salesperson at Cloudflare. She was terminated. She was laid off, and this is her absolute meltdown here. Before we get to that, it looks like we have a super chat. So let me cover this super chat if StreamYard wants to not lag. That'd be great. Ace 1589 2001 says, I have a question, Andrew. Do you think the pro-didnt Disney senators in the subcommittee are so desperate to get RCID restored because they're afraid of the bribes coming to light during the trial? So Ace, you know those folks that you saw like Linda Stewart and like Ascami? Those people are deeply tied to Disney. I'm sure if you look closely at their pocketbooks and what's going on with them, there may be some interesting facts and figures. Of course, politicians tend to be semi-careful, but you never know. They may have done some Hollywood accounting with the money they got from Disney or even the former Reedy Creek. What would be interesting is, and this is really big, remember, you need to disclose if you're a public official. You need to be very careful about the people you donate money to. So if any of those former board members of RCID donated to Miss Stewart, Miss Trollwoman, who filed that Restore Reedy Creek thing, you could have some potential campaign finance issues, some state campaign finance. So she could get dragged in on this potentially if evidence is found of that. I am not saying, nor have I seen that evidence yet. Let me be very clear about that. I have not seen that evidence yet. However, could she? Is it possible? Sure, it's possible, right? And to be honest, it might even be probable. Who knows? We do not know yet, but we're going to learn more over this next year, and I am absolutely fascinated for this to go. But that being said, let's jump right into this, guys. Now, this is 9 minutes. I am going to pause this and give some narration as we speak, because otherwise I think I may go insane. And I'm also going to point out some legal mistakes made on both sides, both of the employee and of the HR department. Also, some just general tips and annoyances. And then after we finish this, we're going to go into her background. And we're also going to go into the response from Cloudflare, which is such a corporate response, and it shows exactly what was going on here. So this is really fascinating. Okay, let's start with this and listen to Brittany. Now, one thing I will say before we start, this girl recorded her termination meeting because she knew this termination was coming, or other friends and stuff were being terminated at the company at Cloudflare. So she decided to record it. I will say this right off the bat. This girl is unhirable. Any person who goes out and records an employee meeting like this and then puts it on TikTok is going to be unhirable. If you hire this woman after she posts this on social media, you might as well, you literally might as well just hand over the money right now from the lawsuit. It's absolutely Looney Tunes for anybody to hire her after she's done this, after she's posted that. That's unhirable. So, I mean, you can look at this girl when she's applying for her next job, be like, oh, I remember you. You're the girl who posted this on the internet. Yeah, next person. So these Gen Z people, because she is Gen Z, these Gen Z folks who think that you can post everything on the internet and that's okay. Yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay. And by the way, not all Gen Z. See some people saying, I'm not trying to say anyone's better than the other, but what I'm saying, it is something that folks are talking about with the younger generation. It's tendencies. Here we go. It's silent in the beginning, but it starts here.
Hey, Brittany. Hi. Yes, I'm so sorry.
So right here, she said the little captions in case you missed them. Everybody else has been getting 15-minute meetings. So her best friend at work got a meeting 30 minutes before I did, and she got laid off. So she assumed that she was going to be laid off as well. So that's why she recorded this.
Sorry, my name's Rosie. I'm just joining the call. Nice to meet.
She's got very focused eyes. I'll point that out right away. She's kind of locked in. She knows what's coming. This girl knows what's coming.
Meet you. I'm on the HR team.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
Thanks for meeting with me and Rosie. We have an important meeting today.
Okay, so real quick. So there's two people from HR. I'll say right away, their voices are not very confident. This guy, the HR guy, his voice is full of soy. One thing you got to do, is the audio low? Well, I'll try to get it as loud as I can possibly get this. Let's see. It's already at 100. Okay. But these guys are speaking low. That's the problem. They're not speaking confident at all whatsoever. That's the problem here. The problem is that these people are not confident. They're not speaking confidently. And that's a huge issue. Try to turn up the audio a little bit here. A little bit. So it should be up a little bit now. All right. So continue here. You've got to be confident. When you're doing this, you have to be confident. You cannot fire somebody in a non-confident way.
We finished our evaluations of 2023 performance. This is where you have not met Cloudflare expectations for performance.
So right there, he said, this is what he said real quick. We have not made clear expectations for performance. He was stuttering. He was not saying it clearly. We've been reviewing performance. You've not met the expectations. What he should have said off rip is, we're doing this across the company and we're firing the bottom X, the bottom 10%, the bottom 25%, the bottom 20%, the bottom 5%, whatever it is. He should have made that clear, because it seems like based on the scenario, that's what they were doing. Now, one reason why he may say, you haven't made performance expectations, is because he wants to make it sound like it might be for cause with her specifically. So like make it sound semi for cause, because there's certain benefits she might not be eligible if it was a termination for cause. But I don't like that he was waffly about it. He should have been more clear. Hey, we're getting rid of X. We're getting rid of Y. I don't know why he did not do that specifically.
We've decided to part ways with you.
Yeah.
We've decided to part ways with you. I mean, the most weak breakup language ever. Now, she's automatically cutting in here. So as soon as he said that, she's cutting in. So you can tell she's ready for this and jumping on that.
I'm going to stop you right there.
I'm going to stop you there.
So I started August 25th. I've been on a 3-month ramp. And then it was 3 weeks of December, and then a week of Christmas. And then here we are. I have had the...
Okay. So real quick, she's worked. This is happening in January. So this girl, she's worked for less than 6 months. I think it's actually like 4 months or something, right? Whatever. I mean, 5 months, maybe say almost 6, but she's barely worked half a year, but somehow feels like she's entitled to the job. I don't get it. I mean, you're not in an at-will situation, which most of the US, you're not entitled to work for any given period. If they decide to do cuts every quarter, you don't make it that quarter, they can cut you. So there's no sort of entitlement to work for X amount of time or Y amount of time. I think people, when they have a job, they feel a certain way, like, okay, well, there's a probationary period. And if I make it out of the probationary period, I'm locked in. Well, not really, unless you have a contract that specifically locks you in. It doesn't guarantee anything. Britt says right here, my old company, if you were the bottom third in sales for a quarter, you were let go. End of story. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can be let go at any time, even if it is your first 6 months. So there's no protection in the first 6 months at all. Red by Night for £2 says, children leading children, grown-ups all gone. Absolutely. All right, let's continue with this.
Highest activity amongst my team.
Now, notice she said, I have the highest activity amongst my team, not sales. She did not say that she had the highest sales. That's very important.
Since I've started, I have had 3 contracts out, done a really great job managing my deals up until the very end that decided not to close last minute.
Okay, right there. What did she just say? Her deals, so she does sales. She's a quote unquote account manager. Her deals decided not to close. You didn't close, baby. Coffee is for closers. Okay? She didn't close. There's the key there. She didn't close the deal. I love how people tried to say, look, it's your job to close. You need to be very, 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 very specific about that fact. You didn't close. But I love how she tries to feel, oh, I'm entitled to this, even if I don't make any money for the company. I think that is an entitlement attitude, especially in sales, which is why a lot of people are not cut out for it. And I know, guys, I know the volume for some people, I guess, may be low. So that's why I'm going to recap this. But there's a lot to break down here from a legal standpoint, and also important facts you can miss here if you don't pay attention to the words she's using. Because a lot of these words are weasel words. They're ways to get out of failure of performance. Britt Cormier says, lol, she was on a 90-day trial. Was she talking to her last boyfriend or her employer? Oh, Fred. Oh my God. Oh, destroyed. Okay, I'll rewind a little bit here and then go.
Decided not to close last minute. So I don't think that makes a lot of sense for me in my Cloudflare journey here so far.
My Cloudflare journey. I love that language. It's my journey. It's my journey. No, honey. It's a sales job. You didn't sell. You didn't close.
Also, every single one-on-one I've had with my manager, every conversation I've had with him, he has been giving me nothing but I am doing a great job. I have had great activity. I have really great meetings.
She has great meetings. Wow, great meetings. Her meetings are so great.
I'm picking up the products very quickly, and things have been going really, really well. I make really great relationships with my clients.
They're not good relationships if you can't sell, darling. You can't sell. That's not a good relationship. And I think this is one of the things where she's been given probably bad advice. And I blame her manager here too, because I guarantee her manager gassed her up. Let's listen in.
So I disagree that my performance hasn't been, I haven't met performance expectations when I certainly have, just because I haven't closed anything officially.
So look what she said. Did you get what she says there? Oh, I haven't closed anything officially, but I disagree that I haven't met performance. This is a lawsuit waiting to happen. She thinks she doesn't have to objectively do the job or make a sale. Are you kidding me? This is zero. Like, that's the whole job, is to sell stuff. Don't be a salesperson if you don't want to sell stuff. Get a different job. I mean, this is not the industry for you. If you cannot sell, sorry, darling. Arby's is hiring. They got the meats. So she's made this statement that's outright false. Now, I'm going to give the HR employees a little bit of slack here. They cannot say you're wrong. In this era, they cannot be argumentative in the 2024 era. If I was HR, I would laugh in her face and tell her to, go look for work at Arby's. But of course, you can't do that nowadays, and especially since people like her can be recording this and would go off and file a discrimination lawsuit because I was picking on her feelings here. This will be an issue if I talk back. So the HR does have to be semi-polite. Ron Crossman says, imagine this woman working in timeshares. Oh, I know. I mean, I did timeshares for a while in terms of working as outside counsel for a hotel and timeshare company. So yeah, I know she would never make it there. Incoherent Turd says, I'm polite and in meetings, I take PTO. Give me money. She's got good knees, Andrew. That's all she needs. No. She needs to actually put in things that are generating real money.
I hear you.
Also, why are you doing this and not my manager? Not, we've never met, so this seems a little odd that my manager has no idea that this has been happening and the director has no idea that this has been happening. So I'm just definitely confused, and I would love like an explanation that makes sense.
Okay, real quick. She's assuming that her manager wasn't fired. This is the thing. When you're doing layoffs, like her manager probably could be fired right now. In fact, I would fire her manager for, number one, hiring her in the first place, and number two, not telling her that she was screwing up. Her manager could very much be fired right now. But second of all, there are very legitimate reasons why managers can't do this, right? Managers, like sometimes managers have a relationship that's too close, so you have to have some level of removal to do this. And the problem is a manager might say something in a termination meeting in 2024 that might end up with you suing the company because they're like, look, we don't want to have to do this, but et cetera, et cetera. And they say something that the girl interprets as sexist or whatever else, and they end up suing you. So it is something that you have to be very careful of. Britt Cormier says it's weak management. If you do not say in a monthly one-on-one, you are not meeting expectations, what is your plan to improve? Here are some tools and leads, go close them. If you cannot, you are out. Britt, managers have no spine nowadays. They're a bunch of weak spined ninny minders. They do not actually tell you you are not doing well. Here's how you improve, or here's what you need to do. Or look, I'm not even going to tell you how to improve. You just need to sell. If you're a salesman, look, I don't care how you sell. Don't commit any crimes. Don't say anything illegal, but sell. I mean, for example, back in the timeshare days, you can't say a timeshare is an investment. If you say a timeshare is an investment, you can sue them for claiming that a timeshare is an investment. If they use that specific language, a timeshare is an investment, that's actually actionable. You can actually sue the company for that. So the salesman can't use that language. But outside of using that language or being deceptive or fraudulent or straight up presenting information that is known to be false, you can use any number of tactics, right? You want to flirt with them? I mean, hey, roll the dice. It might work. Who knows? Is This Live says, I imagine she has a shelf full of participation trophies at her parents' home. Well, she's going to be moving in with her parents now that she doesn't have a job. And we're going to go into her background. Oh, guys, stay tuned. We've got her LinkedIn. So this is going to be very, very, very interesting when we see her LinkedIn.
100%. Real quick, let me carve out the two threads.
I love how she takes time. She takes time to adjust the camera so it sees her properly during the meeting. How vain is that?
Ladder of why I'm on this conversation. I'll put that one to the second half, and Rosie might be better to explain the process of who's giving this information in the prior piece, which is your feedback and notes about your performance. So let me add a little color context to that. So just for clarification,
it's corporate
speak. Being singled out in this. Your peers are also being collectively assessed on performance. This is a collective calibration for Cloudflare.
So okay, what he just says, this is a collective calibration for CloudShare. What they should have said is, we are firing the bottom percent. Why the HR director does not nut up and just say, we are letting go the people that did not close, who did not make X in sales. You did not make X in sales. She didn't make anything in sales. She made 0. That's a very valid reason to be let go, because you didn't actually make money, darling. They should just say that. And the HR guy should have said that. Should have said, look, you didn't make any money. And look, we just fired the people that were not making money. That's it, which is what they did, by the way. I mean, that's clearly what happened here. I don't know why they did not say that. They could have been very clear about that. And I think that might have shut her up with they talking about sales, because then she can whine about, oh, well, I tried really hard, but you didn't sell, did you? The corporate speak is really obnoxious. I really hate corporate speak. I hate it. I hate it with passion.
So I just want to clarify that piece. I won't be able to add any kind of specifics on numbers or.
Wait, yeah, no. Can you explain for me why Brittany Peach is getting let go?
That's her name. She said her own
I
name.
won't be able to go into specifics for numbers.
Wait, why though? I just started. I've been working extremely hard. Just because I haven't closed anything, that has nothing to do with my performance on a 3-month ramp with just 1 month with
Hold on, let's go back here.
Extremely hard. Just because I haven't closed anything, that has nothing to do with my performance.
Yes, it does. Holy shit. She just said it again. Just because I haven't closed anything has nothing to do with my performance. What are you talking about? What are you talking like? Can you believe that people literally believe this? I mean, seriously, people believe this. I cannot believe that this is like that. There's and look, I know not all Gen Z. Okay. But what I'm saying, if this is something that is more prevalent amongst the folks that tend to be younger, this is a problem. This is a big problem. Maybe younger millennials, Gen Z, Alpha, whatever else, right? I mean, this is a problem where they're not required to actually perform and to do real work. I mean, sales is an area where you can't make it. I mean, you can fugazi a little bit, but not really. At the end of the day, it's sales, baby. Sales is what's important in sales. Ace says, look at that blank eating mug. This girl was born with resting lich face. Thank you for that. $5. Calhoun says, he doesn't get brave because he's on a recorded call with 2 women. He's probably a white male scared of both corporate policies. Oh, this is a man in HR. A man in HR is the most weaselly beta soy boy out there. I mean, it's very difficult. I've met some lawyers that do HR law that are tough as steel, some male lawyers, but the actual HR employee themselves, usually they've got to be that way because they've got to take calls like this. It usually is peak male feminist beta soy boy in HR. That's the actual HR employee, not the maybe a lawyer who has to cover that area of law or whatever else. Those people tend to be pretty solid because they just have to state the law, right? This is a law. All right, let's continue here.
On a 3-month ramp with just 1 month with 2 major holidays in the middle, I don't think that has anything to do with why I should be let go, if that makes sense. So I really need an answer and an explanation as to why Brittany Peach is getting let go, not why Cloudflare decided to hire too many people and are now actually realizing that they can't afford this many people and they're letting that go. If that's the real answer, I would rather just you tell me that instead of making up some bullshit and telling me that right before I lose my job from someone that I've never met before.
So okay, I want to say this too. I love how people feel entitled to curse, right? To curse at people. And if they started cursing back at her, she would call it discrimination, hate, whatever else. But like, you can just drop just, oh yeah, I mean, what you're saying is bullshit. Now look, it is corporate speak. But like, you feel entitled to swear at them. But if they swear back at you, you would be there. But I feel like in any argument, if you get hyperbolic, you start cursing or whatever, you're kind of the one that's gotten emotional and you've kind of lost the argument to me. So the second you get emotional like that, yeah, you've lost control. That point at which it's like, okay, you've kind of lost the argument. You've lost the professionalism. And this is a person that to me has not been a real professional. Now we'll look at her resume later, but this behavior is certainly not professional. James Bruley says, a situation like this is how I found out I wasn't fit for sales. Hey, there you go. But guess what, Jason? You probably didn't have an emotional meltdown like this girl. I'm going to put my money. I'll bet your $5 super chat. I'll raise you a $5 super chat that you did not have this emotional meltdown. Rick Courtney says, the way you fake it in sales is you close more than you should and hold them out for bad months, not the other way around. Yes, you close, but you don't settle that out until the next month. You roll it over the next month. Yeah, that does happen. Let's continue.
If you can respect that.
If you can
respect that, and I don't think Dom.
By the way, the woman is there to empathize. Note that the guy is the bearer of bad news. The guy is the villain, and the woman is the one to empathize. You guys notice that?
For myself today is going to give you any clarity or answers that's going to meet the expectations that you're communicating to us, Brittany. So I can't speak to.
So am I getting let go for no reason? If you guys,
they cannot say that. But however, I will note that in termination at will, they can fire you for no reason. So you can technically be fired for no reason if the employment is at will. So technically they can fire you for no reason. But of course they cannot answer that question. From a legal standpoint, they cannot say exactly, oh, we're firing you for no reason. They're not going to say that, right? Because if you said that, that would certainly imply that there might be a non-permissible reason, right? Like a discriminatory reason.
You guys can't give me a reason.
I'm happy to follow up with you separately to give you the data that was calibrated. I'll need to speak with revenue leadership specifically to see if we can get that for you. But Dom and
Can
I
you
did
share
not
that
have
with me
that
now?
in our meeting. I cannot share that with you right now, unfortunately. Yeah, it's understandable how you feel and your frustration.
She's the empathizer. The woman is the
I've been working
empathizer.
Extremely hard. I just knew that this meeting was coming after knowing what's been happening with my peers and how extremely frustrated and upset everyone is. I know you guys must not be able to understand that given in the positions that you are in, and it must be very easy for you to just have these little 10-minute, 15-minute meetings, tell someone that they're fired, completely wreck their whole life, and then that's it with no explanation.
So, by the way, I do empathize. I am empathetic to like not liking corpo speak and to, look, when you lose your job, I get that you're angry, right? If you've ever watched the movie, what is that movie? Oh God, Up in the Air, where they're firing people. Like I can empathize with wanting to tell the person that fired you F off or whatever. Like I get that. And I get that you don't want to hear the corpo speak. You don't want to hear I can empathize with that. But the way she's going about it, yeah, it's not the best.
It's extremely traumatizing for people.
Traumatizing.
If you can imagine that. And I don't think that this is, it's just very, very shocking. Very, very shocking.
Office Space too.
Really given my whole energy and life over the last 4 months to this job. And to be let go for no reason is like a huge slap in the face from a company that I really wanted to believe in.
And I love how the language she's using. It's a very choice language from a company. I wanted to believe in you and you traumatized me. It's very, what's very funny? She's using like relationship type language, right? It's like very much like relationship type language. Like it's like a crying relationship type thing, like you'd use with your mommy and daddy, or you'd use with like a guy, a boyfriend, whatever, right? It's very interesting language used there. And to see folks like when they're in a professional context act kind of in that personal way, it is a little weird. And frankly, to me, it's unprofessional. To me, when I see that, when I hear the language that she's using.
Can absolutely understand how you
And then
feel
the
that
empathy.
way, why you feel that way. And I'll be honest with you, there's nothing that we're going to say in this call and the time that we have that's going to undo the way that you feel right in this moment. I personally will
All about
do
feelings.
everything that I can to give you as much specific information as I can after this call. I can't make any promises. I understand where you're coming from. I can tell you that Dom and I do care. I understand the feeling that you have right now.
Feelings. It's all feelings.
I can't change that. So I'll just be honest.
But why can't, you guys have still not given me a reason why I'm being let go.
Silence.
Despite constant positive praise from my manager.
Okay, there you go. Constant positive praise from the manager. That's a screw up on the manager's part. And I do hope because of that, the manager is fired, because this is a horrible manager. If this is true, that the manager was positively praising her when she hasn't sold anything, yeah, that's a problem. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. If it's true. Of course, she could be lying. We don't know if she's being truthful or not. I'm playing it both ways. Let's pretend that her manager was a bad manager and was gassing her up the entire time, even though she hasn't made a single sale. That's a horrible manager. Her manager may also be let go. So that is something, but that does not mean you've performed in your job. right? Just because your manager was nice to you doesn't mean you've actually performed in your job.
Great meetings that I'm having. The
Great
amount
meetings.
of activity that I have has all been positive. I have not received any negative inclination. I have not been put on a performance improvement plan.
Well, there's no performance improvement. You literally just started your job. It's sink or swim. And once again, activity, of course, look, a client is going to be nice as they let you down, as they kick you out the back door. It's just not, that doesn't mean anything.
Nothing. So.
And I cannot speak to what your manager has communicated to you directly.
But that
You
should
are
be
being
the
let go
indication
for,
of
for performance based on your attainment and leading indicators of data. That is the rationale.
But I've been here for only a month after ramping, and that was during a holiday. So I don't understand can you explain what those performance metrics are? Or is that just like a vague term to give to everyone that you're speaking to today?
I'll say that the performance indicators and performance metrics are, while we're not able to go into specifics, and there's no situation where we will be able to go into
Do you guys
specifics.
even know like why, like who you're talking to each day? Like every single 10, 15 minutes? Do you guys
Well, of
even
course
know
they know who they're talking to.
Like why you're letting these people go when you don't even understand like the kind of work and everything that they've put in?
I hear
They don't. They have a list of people to fire, and you're on that list, girl. You're on that list.
you and what you're saying.
It just doesn't make any sense that you guys have still not been able to give me a reason why I'm being let go.
Just from a process perspective, your questions are valid. This is
Oh, here we go.
Forum in a situation where we're able to go into the detail that you're looking for.
Validating her.
If it's not right.
The problem is it's like you're validating crazy, Like I don't like in this modern era where when somebody's acting up, we keep validating it, right? We can say, yes, you're valid. Yes, it's your truth, girl. Yes. At some point we're like, listen, woman, you're acting up. Right. And by the way, if it was a guy, I'd say, listen, boy, whatever, right? You're acting up. Calm down. You're being fired for a reason. You didn't perform. You don't like it? You'll have plenty of time with the handkerchief, okay? But now I'm telling you the details. You can shut up and listen, or we can go. Benjamin Loken says it's probably easier to be a public servant who's aware of the U.S. Constitution and state constitution where you reside than being in sales. Very true. Camo Bot Killer for 2 says she thinks being at the job equals working. Nope, that's a common problem. It's a problem for many people. But what's not a problem is having over 1,000 people watching. So guys, make sure you smash the like button here today. We are almost over 500, 600 likes. So please smash that like button, guys, and let's continue.
As I'm getting fired, it's certainly not going to be after when I'm no longer part of the company.
No. So I don't think there's anything we can say in this moment or today, Brittany, that's going to change the way that you feel. And it's understandable. I'm taking notes and feedback, and we'll circle back.
Yeah, I know you did that for next week too, but that's
of the meeting. It's not going to change the outcome of the situation today. So it may be best if I do get into more of the specifics of what the next steps are. Because I think it's clear that you have questions that we cannot give answers to. And if you'd be open to it, I'd love to move into what the next steps are so that you're not any further blindsided than you already feel.
okay.
Thank you, Dom.
So then they transition over to asking for an email, and that is it. So there's the video, guys. That was the big one that went giga viral there for a second because it got off on TikTok. Of course, that got circulated, got over to Twitter. Actually, a guy I knew in Florida who's a labor attorney and went to law school with me commented on it, which brought it up to me. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. The world's a small place. So that is Brittany Peach. So let's see who this girl is, because we should look at her background, right, of who this girl is and what she was complaining about, like the background and everything else. So let's look at Brittany. Now we're gonna look at the comments that are on her profile later. But what I want to point out here is, first of all, for the photo, that looks like a different girl. She definitely got like a different like tan in there or something going on. So she's a mid-market account executive at Cloudflare. Okay. So, yeah. Hashtag open to work. So looking for a job. All right. So let's get down here. Where did she work? She worked from August 2023 to the present. Well, not the present. She's been fired. She needs to kind of update that bad boy. But yeah. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Rumble. I just noticed we are over 2K watching on Rumble. Make sure you smash that pussy on Rumble, and shout out to all my gangsters on Rumble. Well, we are clearly not getting censored, which is great. When you're not kept down in the algorithm, it's great. So she only worked there for 6 months. Let's go to this next one. What is this? She was at Snowflake, the company called Snowflake, which, by the way, how ironic is it that she worked at a company called Snowflake? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Too good. And she only worked there for 10 months. Let's pay attention. So this one, she's been there for about 6 months, 10 months, right? In one role for 4 months, another role for 7 months, kind of both salesy, but she didn't make the cut. She was fired before a year. So she did not make that cut. Also, real quick, Ron Crossman says, let's be honest, if it was a guy, the call would have been 2 minutes. We'd keep it moving and start looking for the next job. Hell, Ron Crossman, if it was a guy, we'd already know the call's coming and being like, hey, what's my severance? Like, we would just skip to the important part, I think. Some guys. There are a lot of soy boys out there, a lot of soy boys that be crying. I gotta lie. But the base Chads would be like, all right, on to the next one. What's my severance? Peace. Okay, get ready for this. She worked at Insight for how long? 1 year and 9 months. So not even 2 years. Now, mind you, she never made it to a year in these roles. She worked as a recruiter for 11 months, okay? And then she was shifted to a different role as account manager for 11 months. She didn't even make it a year in either role. So are you seeing a trend here? All of these companies, she has not made it even 2 years. So let's go further. She was a studio technician at WSB TV. Look at how long she worked here. 1 year and 3 months, guys, this is a massive red flag. When you see somebody who has not worked anywhere for more than 2 years, and it's not just one job or two jobs, it's several jobs where they never make it, that's not good. Let's continue here. She worked at Sandy Springs Performing Arts Center for 2 years and 5 months. But let's look at the roles here. Lighting technician for a year and 9 months. Stage manager, right? And event coordinator. She was like doing everything at this Performing Arts Center, probably being paid in stale popcorn over here, but just barely hit that at a Performing Arts Center, which isn't even a related job. It's not really even related. Maybe it's related to the studio technician, maybe, but not really. It's an unrelated stuff. So what do you think her major is? Do you think it's in sales? Do you think she majors in sales or technology? What do you guys think she majors in? And let me get the super chat while you guys guess. She thought that was the personality section. Okay, ready for this? She majored in musicology and ethnomusicology. That's right, a liberal arts major in ethnic music at Kennesaw State University, KSU. It's in Georgia. Musicology. Oh, God, my Lord. A graduate in 2018. Might as well have been in communications. I mean, are you kidding me? That's like one hair from gender studies. One hair for gender studies. Okay. Now, guys, Real quick, I want to show this this Rumble rant. We got a Rumble rant right here that I want to show from Lile, and then we're going to get into some comments on her profile, which are absolutely golden. But first, let's get Rumble here. Lile says her entitlement could go back to how the education system failing children in the West. I heard a story from Canada that school teachers are afraid of students and students can do whatever. Yes, that is indeed something I've heard. I have a friend of a friend who has a sister that teaches in Canada, and pretty much the kids are running the asylum there. By the way, shout out, we have 2,111 on Rumble. You guys are killing it. Smash that pussy over there, and appreciate y'all over here on Rumble. Now, let's get into the reaction. So, of course, you have Brittany over here saying that she is open to work. So Brittany here is saying she's open to work. She is looking for account executive roles. So she is obviously putting herself out there on LinkedIn. She's already ready. Guys, send your jobs to Brittany. Send your jobs to Brittany. She needs you. She needs your work. She needs your work. I think some OF applications might be sliding in soon. Benjamin Loken said, huh? SDS say is superior at this point. A lot is superior at that point. All right. So let's see the reactions. So these are, surprise, surprise, all these strong, independent ladies coming out here and supporting her. Ironically, your video was a masterclass in objection handling. And if performance on that call was rated, you'd earn a top spot on that 3-person bell curve. Well, it was a gaggle of losers. So, okay. Can't wait to see where you land next, as anyone that is persistent and willing to ask hard questions, to stand up for themselves, even when uncomfortable or you aren't in a position of power, pretty much sounds like a formula that will turn into a future sales rock star. No, in the right environment, under the right sales leader, commenting for reach, but also wish you the best. You mean for attention, Sarah. And of course, this is a vice president at Google Cloud. Sarah Kennedy Ellis. Let's continue. The next one, Taylor Clark, an account executive at Articulate. She says, you are such a badass. Love how you stood up for yourself and pushed back. I know it was probably uncomfortable as hell, but you made it look easy, which I know it is not. Wherever you land next is so lucky to have you. Aw, they're lucky, but their bottom line won't be lucky when she doesn't sell anything, Taylor. Their bottom line is not going to be lucky. Commenting for reach. And once again, notice something similar about everybody on here. This is turned into a Yas Queen. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed a little bit of similarity between Sarah, Taylor, Sarah, Leah, Brianna? We would love to have you at Cisco, and we are always hiring. Please let us know if we can help support. I am going to check back and see if Cisco hires her. I bet that Cisco is not hiring her. Because, by the way, if she was going to be hired, they would have hired her right off the bat. You don't need to post a comment to hire. Just update her job. Call them in and update the job. Like, if you really have the power to do that, but I don't think she does. I actually don't think Leah has actual hiring power. Yeah. Brianna Bree Holmes says, hey, Bree, I'm hiring for an account executive position at Restaurant 365 and would love to chat. Shoot me a message. And then Kate responds, yes, women supporting women. Yes, queen. Lita Bustard, a specialty and solutions business apps vendor manager for some company. Let me check real quick what Lita works for. Lita works for Ingram Microcloud. She says, saw your video, overwhelmed, imagining you read all those comments and feeling overwhelmed yourself. You are my kind of people. Whoever hires you is very smart, but you're not hiring her, right? You're not hiring her, right, Lita? And it says, commenting for outreach, saw your video and absolutely love the way you stood up for yourself. The Datadog has positions available. Reach out to Mark. How you carry yourself is my inspiration. It took me 3 months just to learn and comprehend what I'm selling, and then 6 months to hold meaningful conversations and build relationships. Sales is a patience practice. Everyone should get 1 year to prove yourself. Best of luck. Are you kidding me? No. Are you kidding me? No. You don't get a year to prove yourself. You buck up or you're gone. You aren't entitled to 1 year, Karen. Of course, Karen thinks you're entitled to 1 year to prove yourself. There's nowhere that makes that a requirement. No law, no standard. Are you kidding me? It took you 6 months to be confident? That sounds like you have a confidence problem, Karen. There's another business that might be good for you, but it's not that. Thank you, $20 from Leprechaun Gold. Appreciate you. Thank you guys coming up big today with the memberships and the super chats. Appreciate and love you guys. You guys let me do this day to day, week to week, year to year. Zoe Tian says, saw your video. Good job calling them out. You absolutely did the right thing. I'm amazed by your incredible communication skills during that very stressful time. You stood your ground flawlessly and calmly. Your skills will be much more appreciated by end of the comment here. Haley says, girl, it was a bold move to post your experience on TikTok. Also, it's not going to get you hired by posting it on TikTok. You've got yourself permanently never having a job. Congratulations, Brittany. But it's evident you have the world on your side, and Cloudflare has a PR nightmare on their hands. Being laid off sucks, but keep your chin up and make connections with people who are reaching out. Cloudflare can cut off. Do you guys see a theme there with the gassing up? You guys see a little bit of a theme there? Can we see a trend? Can we see a little bit of a trend with the gasoline on that LinkedIn? Ace says sales and restaurants are waitress, Andrew. Yes. Well, I mean the cashier. She might be a better cashier. Gonna need that. Maybe if she's a waitress, maybe if she lets the low cut top do the talking. I don't know. Leprechaun Gold, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you, Leprechaun Gold. Calhoun says, lol, even the military doesn't do that, and it's hard to get fired from the army. Sink or swim, the attitude is everything. Yes, it absolutely is. So guess what? We have a response from the CEO or the co-CEO of Cloudflare. So let's look at what the co-CEO said. Okay, this is the co-CEO of Cloudflare, Matthew Prince. Okay, responding on X. He says, and let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more, just a little bit. Okay. Matthew Prince says, we fired 40 salespeople out of 1,500. Pause. Did I not say that number was going to come back? They hired 40. What did we talk about earlier? 40 gets around the WARN Act. So now we're going back to law. 40 people gets under the WARN Act, so they're not covered by the WARN Act. So they did fire a number of people, just not more than 50. When we were doing performance management, right, we can often tell within 3 months or less of a sales hire, even during the holidays, whether they're going to be successful or not. So this debunks her argument about whether or not the holidays were a factor. In fact, you could say they were normal, right? Did she perform as a regular employee would perform during the holidays, given that it's the holidays? You've got sales metrics. You should be able to determine that. Sadly, we don't hire perfectly. We try to fire perfectly. In this case, clearly we were far from perfect. This video is painful for me to watch. Brother, this is painful for all of us to watch. This is painful for all 1,000 of you who should be smashing the like button to watch on YouTube, and all 2,000 of you on Rumble. Managers should always be involved if they aren't fired. HR should also be involved, but it shouldn't be outsourced to them. No employee should ever actually be surprised they weren't performing. That's true. This is true. We don't always get it right, and sometimes underperforming employees don't actually listen to the feedback they've gotten before we let them go. This here is key. She may have selectively forgot about the negative stuff. She may have only paid attention to what was positive and strategically ignored the negative. By the way, Camobot says FPUC had horrible results with work ethics. There are some people who don't want to work but want a full paycheck. Wrong. You're at work. Give 100%. I agree. You should be giving 100%. And if you're not, your manager, Camobot, should tell you that you're not performing. And I agree with that. Importantly, just because we fire someone doesn't mean they're a bad employee. It doesn't mean won't be really great elsewhere. So he left out some words here. It doesn't mean they won't be really great elsewhere. Chris Paul was a bad fit for the Suns, but he's undoubtedly a great basketball player. And in fact, we think the right thing to do is get people we know are unlikely to succeed off the team as quickly as possible so they can find the right place for them. I actually agree with that. You should fire people as quickly as possible if they're not working. I actually do agree with that. I do agree with that strategy. I think that's a good strategy. We definitely weren't anywhere close to perfect in this case, but any healthy organization needs to get the people who aren't performing off. It's kind of funny that he's talking about getting people off, but okay, I know what you're trying to say. That wasn't the mistake here. The mistake was not being more kind and humane as we did. That's something that the other co-CEO and I are focused on improving going forward. So that part is corporate speak. That's to prevent a lawsuit there. That's some lawsuit mitigation there, saying we just need to be more kind and humane. Also PR, right? Because obviously this has been a PR nightmare for them. So they're obviously hurting on that one. So that's the kind of soften that blow there. But that's the CEO's response. So it looks like they indeed were doing a layoff. They indeed were trying to once again get around the WARN Act. As you see here, once again, if it's 50 to 499, you've got to give that WARN Act. But this is under 50, so that's my suspicion. Amongst other reasons, there can be other reasons as well. But clear what we have here is a problem with people listening and a problem with people accepting. And this is something that when they're doing the Pixar layoffs, I imagine is going to be exactly the same scenario. I imagine there's going to be a lot of Britneys over there at Pixar. And I'm only waiting for those videos. But I will say to you guys, from a legal perspective, look, if you guys are being laid off, number one, do not record it and put it on TikTok. That's my general advice to you guys is do not record your conversations. And by the way, this one was taken down from her TikTok because she was probably under an NDA. And there's probably some other or some other provisions that she was violating by recording it. Also by not giving notice to those folks that they were being recorded, not telling them they were being recorded, just recording them without their consent. Yeah, that's the thing. There's one thing if she had been recording it and keeping it for records and it had never seen the light of day, but to go and put it on TikTok, come on. All right, what are we at for likes? Right now, we are at 629. Come on, we can get up for that video. We can get up to 750. We can do it, guys. We can get up to 750. And appreciate all those over there on Rumble who have gotten me up here to, let's see where we're at on Rumble. We're at 199 likes. Thank you so much over there on Rumble. Appreciate all y'all that are coming through big time. Rumble's been G's out there. So rookie numbers. So guys, that's what I got for today. Big video, should be fun. I may post this as a short, so those looking for that video that want to comment on it, anybody other content creators want to comment on it, it may be up as a short, but that's what I've got for today. I am going to be back tomorrow. Not sure whether it'll be at the same time or part of the PM, maybe same day, part of the PM or back in the morning, but I will be back. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun today, a lot of fun covering this one. And I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.